Hi guys, my name's Seb Tudor, I'm the man on the Silver Mountain, and welcome back. Now today, after the week we've had so far, I want to be talking about sexual insecurities and how to overcome the various insecurities that we have. And as a result, this video, we've already done male-specific insecurities, we've done female-specific insecurities, and now today I want to kind of touch on the more overarching ones, the ones that kind of bounce between both, depending on all kinds of things. And at times, both men and women can be experiencing them at the same time during the same act, but they will experience them not only slightly differently, but also there will be maybe a slightly different cause, but it will still be the overarching same insecurity that's sprouted the whole thing from it. And so as a result, we've got 7 here that I want to go through, and as a result, we'll talk through all of these, and hopefully you'll find them useful. But as I've said in the last couple of videos, I'm going to be doing a live stream tomorrow anyway, in which case, if you've got further questions, further concerns, further things that I'm not talking about, then please drop by and tell me. Otherwise, if you're not going to turn up to the live stream tomorrow, or can't, or whatever, then obviously that video will go up as a video on demand, so leave it down in the comments on that video, leave it down in the comments on this video, and I will try and address them, try and get back to them in further videos in the future, because this is something that you guys in the survey that I did a little while ago asked to talk about more, asked to go through more, and so this is where I want to go and do that. So the first thing, and this is possibly one that a lot of people experience, especially when they first get together with someone, is being naked. Being naked, we talked about kind of body insecurity in a couple of different ways. Women just looking good, men in regards to especially the size and so on of their penis. But in regards to just being naked generally, the number of people that will try and cover themselves up and hide themselves after the act is concluded, that they will not allow their partner to see them, say, getting out of the shower naked or anything like that, because they are afraid that outside of the sexual act, the seeing them naked, seeing them without their clothes on, will somehow turn them away, or possibly the only sex that you have had has been whilst somewhat clothed, and so it's hiding those parts of yourselves that you're still not happy with. Simply put, there is one solution to this, and that is just walk around naked more. The more you get used to just feeling fine in and of yourself whilst walking around is going to be one of the biggest and best things that you can do. If you are happy to walk around naked whilst just doing stuff around the house, whilst working, whilst doing anything like that, and I'm not saying going into work naked, I'm saying if you are doing housework naked, then firstly, it's going to feel more normal, it's going to feel more natural to you, but also that is easier said than done. I understand that it's going to be a tough thing, because we are told, especially when we're children and we run around naked and all the rest of it anyway, when we're small children and we don't know any better, we are often then kind of told that you need to be clothed, that you need to kind of deal with other people's expectations on you being clothed in the right way and all that kind of thing. And so again, though, the most concrete way, the most solid, substantial way that you can get past the stuff that you have been told to do is feel the fear that has been driven into you and do it anyway. Just take off all your clothes, walk around naked, look at your body in a mirror, understand your body a bit better, understand what things you like, what things you don't, be understanding and compassionate about yourself. You might have strangely shaped body parts, or you might have kind of cellulite or wobbly bits in other areas, but so what? Are you saying that your partner doesn't have those things? Are you saying that you have never had those things in the past and probably will never have those in the future? Because quite frankly, that's bollocks. Everyone is going to have a bit of cellulite, a bit of this, a bit of that, time and time again. And if you're looking at people like movie stars or models as your points of reference to what you should look like, Firstly, that's a bad point of reference anyway, because those people get paid to literally look that way. So they have an infinite amount of time in the gym, they have personal trainers, they have everything else that they need to get them to go and look that way. You don't have that. You've got a real life with a real job and real concerns and real upsets and not enough money and tubs of ice cream that need eating and all that kind of shit. So, you've got all of those things to care about. So if you're walking around naked, or if you're in someone's bed and they are smiling at you, if they cannot take their eyes off you, if they wanted to sleep with you, then chances are they're completely fine with just how you are. In which case, be forgiving, be compassionate, and be confident in the body you've got. And if you're not 100% confident in it, then fine, fake it till you make it. Walk around naked. See what response you get from that person whose opinion you care about. And there should only be the people that you're sexually intimate with whose opinion should really matter in that regard. And even then, their opinion should only go so far. And I can say this from my personal experience. The people that you are happy to be in bed with, happy to have sexual relationships with, suffice it to say, you're probably into the way that person looks. And even if you maybe aren't in a fantasy kind of way, that's a fantasy and this is reality. You're going to engage with that. So if a person that you're talking to is like, I like tall, skinny chicks who have crazy broad shoulders, or I like short guys with dwarf beards, regardless of what they say, then that doesn't necessarily mean that you're not the exception, because you're real and the people that they're talking about are in their head. So if they're smiling at you, if they're really enjoying looking at you, if they are really enjoying getting very close and touchy-feely with you, chances are you're fine. If not much better than fine in their eyes. Now, the next insecurity that we're going to talk about here is people are often insecure, upset, worried about what feels good to them, about what they like. And they're worried about communicating that to other people. So the first thing you need to do in regards to this is firstly actually know what you're into. Know what you like, know what you dislike, know what feels good, get to know what doesn't feel good. Know if you need a bit of extra stimulus. And here I'm going to make a joke. Like if you need your partner to be in a mascot chicken suit to get off, then you better understand that. You better know that. And you better be able to tell them that. Because otherwise that's going to be a very one-sided relationship and it's not going to be good for either of you. And you need so not only though do you need to know, you need to accept that that's kind of what you want, that that's what you like, and granted, if a partner doesn't accept it, then that might mean that relationship breaks down. But imagine if you can understand what you want, accept it and tell someone, and they go, yeah, okay, it sounds fine to me, and then they go and do it with you. Would that not just be more fun? Would that not feel better? Would it not be nice to know that someone can just accept what you want and that what you like? Both in regards to a guy or a girl, it doesn't matter. This is what we're talking about here. Things that affect both of us, both male and female. So, get to know yourself, get to know what feels good, get to know what you need, and, other things that help the way that you enjoy sex and intimacy. And then accept it, that's what you like. You want your partner to tell you what they like, right? That they have this thing that they love you doing, or that thing isn't what they want, but this might be, so that then you can do it, so you can perform, yeah? And we've said that we don't want performances, but there's always a bit of fun when you know that you can do well. That adds to the fun rather than taking away from it. And so you should do the same. If you want to be able to know that they fantasize about you, that they have these ideas of things that they're into that they want to share with you, so that you can engage with them, great. do the same back. Provide them with those things that you know you like. And be specific, be detailed, show them. Because that way that understanding gets built up and the sex only ever gets better. Now the next one is kind of one that's more medical. And that is in regards to people saying things like, am I normal? But also in regards to things like sex is painful. And this is something that I can't stress enough generally anyway. But go and see a goddamn doctor. Yeah? Get yourself tested. Because that's just a good thing to do. Yeah? Go and get yourself tested, go and get yourself checked out, and all the rest of it. And if you have something that maybe seems a bit unusual, if you smell something that seems unusual, as per what we were saying yesterday, if the shape of you seems strange, if something causes pain or something like that, go and see a doctor. Go and find out. Because there's a good chance that the doctor will turn around to you and go, I mean, I'm very glad to put your mind at ease. You are completely normal. Enjoy the rest of your life being completely normal. In which case, you're fine. No issues, right? However, if they go, oh, actually that might not be normal, then it means that you can solve the problem and you can either find out how to manage it, or if it's a quite concerning thing, your doctor can potentially refer you to the right person, for the right expert, so that you can have a problem that you might not have even realised solved. Simple, easy, straightforward. If you've got those worries about, am I normal? Do I look weird? Do I smell weird? Am I unleashing shadow demons from my downstairs? All those kind of things. If you've got those concerns, go and see a doctor. And even then, even if you don't have any of those concerns, it's, to be fair, probably a good idea to go and see a doctor anyway, just to get checked up, just to see if they've just to see if you've been sexually active for a while but never been tested. Go and get yourself tested just to make sure you're safe. Yeah, always a good idea. But then the next that we've got to talk about is something that I've touched on in both the other videos of the last couple of days, and that is communication, and also reprioritizing what is important in the sex that you are having. So, as said, I did a video about this ages ago on the orgasm objective, where everyone treats orgasms as the be-all, end-all of a sexual interaction. They shouldn't be. It should be the intimacy, it should be the fun, it should be the enjoyment between two people that either care about each other or at the very least are attracted to each other. That should be the core of everything that's going on in that situation. And so, though, to make sure that that is something that everybody is on board with, you need to communicate it, and then you need to actually make a point of it. You know, make it a reality that the orgasm isn't the point. It's the fun that's the point. So it doesn't matter if one of you finishes, if both of you finish, if neither of you finish. As long as you've had fun, as long as it's felt good, you've enjoyed yourselves, and you've got what you want out of it, which you won't know if you've got what you want out of it unless you have discussed it with your partner, because it has to be for both of you, right? Two-way street, remember? That's the important thing. So have conversations. Talk about it frankly. Talk about how, how important an orgasm is to you, because chances are, between just the long-term fun of a long sex session that feels great, that then maybe doesn't end in either of you finishing, compared to 2 orgasms after a couple of minutes, I would imagine that a good number of people would prefer the longer time of enjoying themselves and that build up, rather than just quick endings. You know, on both sides. You know, that would be my inclination. That would be my feeling. So, but again, you won't know if one person just wants the orgasm quickly and the other person doesn't care, or if neither of you care, or if it's more important that they feel a different emotion. If it's more a case of feeling wanted for one party and feeling kind of fulfilled and secure and safe for the other, or if there's crossover or whatever else, you need to talk, and then you need to put those things that you want at the top priority, the thing that you want most, which will probably come down to something like fun, love, affection, safety, I imagine orgasms are probably up there, but probably not at the very top. And those all need to be worked into what you're doing as opposed to just going through the numbers. Yeah? And have those conversations. Understand, and sometimes they can be awkward conversations, especially if you're shy. But have the conversations. Make a point of having the conversations, because if you don't, then it doesn't matter if you're shy or not. It'll just end up being dull, boring, empty. I can speak from experience. After a while, when I was going from partner to partner, and I was maybe too cocky, too confident myself, I got bored. I got bored with the various interactions, the various sex I was having, because a lot of it was great, but it was by the numbers. It was dull. It wasn't what I needed, and the kind of top of my priority list. Those things weren't being ticked off. And as a result, it left me feeling pretty down. It left me feeling pretty empty, and I withdrew from that in a lot of ways. So, rather than doing that, rather than going through the roller coaster that I went through, have the conversations, have the understanding, create the priorities that you want with your partner and achieve them, rather than just going through the numbers, getting bored, being frustrated, being upset, and having things collapse. Do better than I did. Now, the next one that I want to talk about, and this is an important one. It's crazy important that no one thinks about. No one ever fucking thinks about. No one does it. Practice. And this isn't just practice in regards to communication, like I was talking about the other day. This is practice in regards to kissing, in regards to fondling each other, in regards to sex itself. You need practice. No two ways about it. And you need practice with the person that you want to have sex with. Why? Because that person is going to be there, have their own specific wants, their own specific sensitivities, their own specific dislikes. In which case you need to practice at being good with them, not just good at sex. Because being good at sex doesn't really exist. Being good at sex really means being responsive to the lovers that you have. Doesn't mean that you have learned a selection of skills that suddenly makes you some kind of demigod. Literally doesn't work. The skills that you need are non-sexual skills to become good at sex, because they are things like communication, empathy, understanding, learning your partner. All of those kind of things are important, far more so than just being able to thrust in a certain way or clench in a certain way, for instance. And so, a lot of people have these same concerns about sex in regards to performance, in regards to, staying the time or finishing when you need to or whatever else. We went over these the last couple of days. And yet, if it's going to be a performance, well, what do performers do? They practice, right? You have people on stage learning their lines, learning their moves, learning the dances that they have to do or whatever else. You've got sports people practicing by going to the gym, going and practicing what they need to do on a sports pitch or whatever else. That's what they are going to focus on. They are going to practice, and they are going to practice in the specific situations, in the specific elements that they are having to perform. Sex is, if we're going to look at it this way, no different. But along with everything else, if there's a lot more feeling in it and there's a lot more care in it, the practice is fun. It shouldn't just be practice to get better, so that you build that muscle, win that championship, because there isn't a championship of sex. There just isn't. To some people, that might be a sad thing. I mean, the closest thing would probably be like porn industry awards and things like that. But, you're not... there might be a few porn stars watching, in which case, hello. But otherwise, it's a case of you're not likely to be in those situations where you're going to win an award, unless your partner is being very sarcastic. In which case, good sex is what feels good. And it's what feels good to you. It's what feels good to your partner. To consistently produce those good feelings, you need practice. And people change over time as well. Something that works one time might not work the next. It might be an in-the-moment thing. So you need to practice the things that work every time. So that then the spontaneous stuff can still work, it can still be great, it can still feel amazing, it can still be enjoyable, but it's not that thing that gets you stuck in trying to do that amazing thing that worked once and then will never work again. look for the consistent things. And that's where you need to communicate, because your partner is also your coach in that regard, your sports coach, your performance coach, your director, whatever you want to, whichever way you want to look at it in this regard. They are the person that is going to lay out for you what you need to learn, what you need to do well, what you need to forget. So communication is key, but then after that you need to practice, and there's only one person that you can practice with. And it can be a lot of fun doing it. So I hope you have fun enacting that. But then the last couple are things that are one of them is kind of like going and seeing a doctor, and that is going and seeing a coach or a therapist. Coach, counselor, therapist. Because a coach can help you if you already know what you're looking for, if you already know what you want, or even if you don't know what you want, but you know that there's like the nebulous, we want an improved sex life, for instance, then they can help you get there. You know, they can help you plan, they can help you communicate, they can help you take those steps to where you need to go, as I have done with clients in the past. In regards to other issues, though, if you've got some deep-seated worries and deep-seated insecurities, that stuff that I've just talked about hasn't helped with, or that seeing a doctor doesn't help with because it's not as physical as you thought it was, go and see a therapist. If you're having difficulties with your partner and neither of you can really necessarily nail down what they are, or that there are other strains and other struggles that you're going through that it's hard to really work with, go and see a therapist, go and see a counselor, go and see a therapist and establish these things with them. You know, CBT shares a lot with coaching, and CBT is a great option in regards to things like sexual insecurities and sexual focus. And on changing the way you think. That's one of the reasons why there is a lot of crossover between a lot of the stuff that coaches do and a lot of things that CBT psychologists do and therapists do. It's simply because it's the way that we change the way we think. It's the reframing, it's the shift in understanding and perspective that allows us to succeed. It's just that a therapist tends to focus on kind of maybe more of what you've done to get to that point to then get you forward, whilst a coach only cares about going forward. In which case, if you've got those insecurities, those things that you need to work through that have a longer history, maybe seeing a therapist would be more worthwhile. If you've got a long relationship that's started to degrade, especially due to sex or something like that, again, a therapist might be more advantageous. And again, to those people who are like, well, they don't know me, they're not going to be sat in the bedroom with me, how are they going to help? They're a set of outside eyes with a lot more information, a lot more knowledge, and a lot greater understanding of what's normal and how things work than you may very well have. And that's a lot of general information that you can use in your specific situation. Same way that coming to talk to me as a coach, I've got no idea necessarily of what a business does or what a person's life is like, but I can still ask the right questions in the right way at the right time, and provide the right information if it's requested to get that person on track, because I might not know their life and I might not know them, but I do know planning, I do know my coaching methods and things like that, and so it allows me to apply those things. I don't need to know what an electrical company does and how all the electrics work to ask them some specific questions that then allow them to answer themselves. Same goes for therapists and for coaches in this situation, where they might not be sat in your bedroom taking notes on your sex life. They might not be particularly aware of the community that you live within in regards to your sex life. But they can still ask you questions, they can still give you best practice and other useful information that will help you on your way to getting what you want. And the last one is one big thing that people worry about, and that is that they worry about having fun, because fun's the golden rule, and sex is fun. But then the more they worry about it, this is kind of the thing that we were talking about in regards to guys, where they want to perform well, or girls where they're not necessarily sure, and that causes a lot of guilt or worry. This is the overarching thing. You know, your insecurities and the worries that you have, regardless of if I've listed them over the last 3 videos or if there's something completely different that you would maybe like to talk about in the comments or drop by the live stream tomorrow to discuss. All of those things they're often being reinforced by people that you're with or people that you're around or by yourself. In which case, focus on fun. If you're not having fun because the person that you're with is literally just bolstering those insecurities, you go, oh, I don't look good, and they go, yeah, I know you don't. And they're not, when they're not joking, when they're being serious, when they're just being mean to you, find someone who makes you feel better, who has fun with you. Yeah, there's this thing that comes out of it where people feel insecure about moving on, and the core is to have fun. And if you're not having fun, and that fun can take any form, as long as it works for you, but if you're not having fun, if it doesn't feel good, then get out. And the insecurity of oh, but then I'd be alone, I wouldn't be feeling great, I wouldn't have that person, and they love me really, and all that kind of no. Now you're making excuses. Is it fun? No. Why isn't it fun? If it's not fun because you've not had sex for a while, because you've both been crazy busy or whatever else, then that's maybe more understandable. That's something to talk about with them. As per the stuff that we were talking about a minute ago in regards to limitations and stuff, prioritizing things and communicating stuff. But if it's not fun because it's just not, they don't do things that feel nice, they don't do things that make you feel good, they don't actually seem to appreciate you, you're just there for their satisfaction, the insecurity that you're sat with of not moving on, it's going to crush you. It's going to turn into something worse over time. So that insecurity of not wanting to move on, of being alone, that's more just a fear of the unknown. And the fear of the unknown is probably one of the scariest things that most people experience. But again, that's where we need to have fun. Ask that question. Are you having fun? If you're not, ask why. And if the answer is, if it's just, oh, well, because they're not fun, that person isn't fun to be with, then guess what? Time to get going. Time to find somewhere new. Feel the fear, do it anyway. Because the insecurity around not being alone, or around being alone rather, sex is fun. So even if it's a fling and this person is making you feel bad and you're not enjoying yourself, or if this is a long-term relationship, either way, if it's not fun, just say goodbye. Straightforward, simple. And if then there's a problem in terms of them not wanting you to go or not letting you go and all the rest of it, if it's just not wanting you to go, then fair enough. They might have been really into it. They might have been really into you. Make your excuses, leave there, as long as they're not stopping you from leaving. But if they do, then, you've got police, call for help, whatever. The simple, straightforward ways of dealing with those situations if someone is basically trying to prevent you from leaving against your will. But the core of that is make sure that sex is fun. That's the core of it. And the insecurities that would have you shift away from that, not wanting to be alone for longer term relationships, not wanting to seem in a certain way when this person, if it's a short term thing, you might never see this person again. Don't just sacrifice fun for the sake of appearances or for the sake of security in regards to sex. Make sure that it's something that is fun, be it long term, short term, or whatever. Make sure that the fun is at the core of it, because if it's not fun, that's a good indication, that's a good indicator. It's a big flashing neon sign to tell you what's going on. If it's fun because it's fun when it's happening, and it's just maybe not fun right now because you've not had any, something to address with a partner, not necessarily something to run from. But if it's a case of it's not fun because of your partner, because of what's going on, because they don't care, then that's when it really, I urge you to go and find more of what you want. But anyway, guys, I hope that this has addressed, these last 3 videos have addressed some things. they've been really interesting to make, to be fair. Just seeing which insecurities that people have come to talk to me about and so on rank up the top, and stuff like that, because there are some insecurities that are so specific to certain people, because again, I've had to be very vague. But if you want yours addressing directly, please, if you're willing to share, drop it down in the comments. Drop me a message individually. All my contact details are down in the description. But otherwise, as said, there's also going to be the live stream at the end of the week. Come find me there and we can have a chat. So otherwise, thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope you found this really useful. And otherwise, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the video later. Take care. Thank you very much for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video or found it interesting, then please drop us a like, share this video, and subscribe for more. And I'll see you in the video later. Take care.